All right, we'll call the joint town council special meeting and budget committee meeting of Wednesday, July 23rd to order at 7:03. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Peter Talbot,
Here.
Jim Jinks, Nina Allard, Don Walsh.
Here.
David Belver.
Here.
Fiona Pearson.
Here.
Greg Wolf.
Here.
John Malone.
Here. Still people.
Quorum is present. Oh, Treasurer Kramer, sorry. Quorum is present. Here.
Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3 is public comment, but we're going to move that past our capital budget discussion, which brings us to item number 4, the call for a public hearing to consider the potential sale of 58 plus or minus acres of real property formerly owned by the state of Connecticut, adjacent to Interstate 691 with frontage on Route 10, known as the subject property. Be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution 072325-1. Be it resolved that the Town Council will hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, August 12, 2025 in Council Chambers, Town Hall, 84 South Main Street, Cheshire, Connecticut, to consider the potential sale of 58 plus or minus acres of real property formerly owned by the state of Connecticut adjacent to Interstate 691 with frontage on Route 10, subject property, to 3 Squared LLC for economic development purposes, and be it further resolved that the town manager shall cause a notice of said public hearing to be posted and published according to law, and be it further resolved that the date, time, and place, or any further postponements thereof shall be determined by the town manager with the approval of the chair of the council.
Second.
Second.
Take your.
Okay.
Simply call for a public hearing, so with that I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, motion passes unanimously by those present. Yes,
I have a couple of questions regarding this.
Sure.
Before we move on, can I ask them?
yeah, it's strictly for the call for a public hearing, but
I understand,
yes.
but just as it pertains to this matter, 2 things. One is, are we gonna be looking to, I know this is, we're trying to move this along if it's gonna go forward, are we gonna be looking to vote the same night, or is that not gonna be on the agenda?
We probably would look to vote the same August 12th.
Okay. Will we be getting any information in advance of the public hearing to review, and what might that be?
Yeah, it would be in the packets, but how soon do you want it? Let's put it that way.
Sooner than later, I mean, if we're gonna be looking to vote on this, I would like to review as much as possible,
Okay,
including if there's a draft contract, and if or at least terms. I'd like to see the full proposal personally, I'd like to just look it over.
okay. So, yeah, instead of waiting for packets, if we could get that information to the
Yeah,
council.
I'll check with the town attorney.
Okay.
And then one other thing, this public hearing, just as a matter of just clarity, 58 acres, does that include the small piece that?
No.
It does not. So that will not go forward, if this goes forward, that'll stay in limbo, that piece?
It's my understanding, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, that the additional acreage that's tied in with that property would be up to the person that purchases it to work with the state to purchase that additional acreage.
That
I would defer to Andrew, I know we're still waiting for the state to.
Yeah, so they would have the first option on that property once it's received.
So that's not gonna come through the town at all, that'll go directly to,
No, it'll come to the town, and then we would then in turn turn it to the developer.
so the question is, I mean, are we gonna have to have another public hearing on that at that time? Should we include that now? I'm asking the question in terms of process.
I'm not certain.
I'm
We
pretty,
can't
we
really
have some
have it.
time, I'm pretty sure for any conveyance of property, you need a public hearing.
So we have to do that at another time?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we know that, and that's the understanding, that's just curious.
That's my
Thank
understanding.
you, thank you.
You bet. Okay, proposed fiscal year 25-26 capital budgets Sean, I'll let you take it in the, and appease the fighting amongst the groups as to who goes first.
Coin flips. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We do have a number of just some of our smaller some of our departments that only had maybe one or two items to discuss tonight. And we are going to try to move things along. I know we have kind of a time crunch tonight, so I think with that we'll just get started. I do have, I think we can flip to, we'll start with the police cruisers, if that's all right, because it's the only item that will have Chief Jortner here. Also, we have Officer Zaskowitz, who's our traffic control officer, who are here to answer any questions. I just, page 157 of the vertical book will be the summary of the request. And I can invite you guys, actually,
What was the page,
Maybe
Sean?
come on over here. And Kevin, you can join if you'd like. It should be 157, I believe. I have that right? Yeah. That's what I have in my notes. And so just a reminder, that's the request sheet. This year, as I was culling down some of the requested projects in the capital budget, I did make an adjustment from 4 cruisers requested on that sheet to 2. So if you look on page 156 on the opposite page, just a reminder, you see department requested $236,000 for the 4 vehicles. I have 118 in town manager recommended. We did also, as the council is aware, just increase the fee associated with the use of police vehicles on extra duty jobs. And the page 158 has that brief continuation summary of some of the expected revenue. It's at the older rate. That program has brought in a significant amount of revenue, which has more than covered at least 2, if not even 3 of these vehicles in the past. And so I guess with that, I'll turn it to Chief Jordan to just sort of explain the request, the vehicles we would likely be getting. In the past, we've had some flexibility around, especially with chip shortages and other things. We've made some other purchases with respect to the vehicles, but I know the council often has questions about which cruisers, which models, makes and models we're going with, and some of those. That's right.
Chairman, Councilman, thanks for allowing us the opportunity to come and sit before you today. We understand the budgetary process and we understand shared sacrifice. So with that, we're willing and able to absorb the cut to the 5-year recurring capital budget, at least in the interim. I'd like to note that the second page in the book, which an estimate about $190,000 in fiscal revenue. Last year we brought in $226,425, and this year $258,905. If you extrapolate that out using the $35 an hour cruiser fee, it would estimate somewhere around the $300,000 mark next year, which would more than cover the entire request for the 4 cruisers in the capital budget next year and then going forward as well. In reference to the makes and models, the town manager is correct. The availability, the options, the accessories to suit our needs differs from year to year. For example, Ford's stopped making cars for model year, so we had to nix those. The Tahoes, we like to partner with local business, Chevy, but a lot of those are finding problems with brakes, heavy repairs, we're having a lot of repairs with those. We just recently went to the Dodge Durango model. Great success so far. They're reliable. The officers love them. So we may look in that direction as well. But keeping cost in mind.
Chief, the Durangos, I think in the previous conversation, the Durangos are actually less expensive than the Tahoes, right?
Correct. That's correct.
So I brought, I know time is short and we're trying to get out of here quickly, but I brought Kevin along because, I'm kind of like the hospital administrator and Kevin's in charge of the oncology department, right? So traffic is a #1 concern we have all the time, and he triages that. So his primary job is every time that we get an email from you about signage, or traffic lights, or any of those requests, they go through Kevin. As well, he's our primary fleet manager. So I brought him up here. Any questions that you would have, he's the resident expert, and I encourage you to ask those questions.
So we're cutting 2 out this year. Are we gonna have to play catch-up at all, or are we just gonna just not have 2 this year and then go, next year we have 4 scheduled? So,
Yeah, right now the plan would still be to have 4 each year.
but we don't have to do catch-up,
We're not gonna ask for 6 next year. That's
Right.
That's the question.
That's, yeah, right, exactly.
Or 4 1/4. Okay.
Thank you. I think it's awesome that revenue covers new cruisers. I think that's the perfect way to plan. The revenue that's made from our cruisers being used in certain places around town, was that revenue planned to be used for new cruisers? Or is that revenue used somewhere else usually, or?
So I can answer that. It is general fund revenue, so it's not like it goes into a special account only for cruisers. So that is, Jim Jascott to keep me honest, it's in effect no different than any other general fund revenue. Any fees that we charge that go into the overall general fund, supporting the overall operating budget. Because we purchase these vehicles with CNR funds typically, and we pay cash into the CNR fund, it is a little more directly balanced, but it's not a one-for-one. If you raise one, you can absolutely do the other automatically because you have a surplus. It's just like any other revenue, we're estimating what we'll receive. We don't know sitting here now what next June 30th we will have collected over the next 12 months.
Net neutral's still nice to have.
It is, and it's certainly, and to the chief's point, it's if we continue with the same level of extra duty jobs as we've had in recent years, which has been an uptick, and it's been a very popular program. If we collect 250 or 300, you can more than justify all 4 vehicles being purchased out of the same revenue.
Right, and we'll know better this time next year.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you.
Any other
Anyone else?
questions?
I mean, but obviously it's going up, but even still, you would expect 236 is a reasonable, 200 is a reasonable number to expect revenue from the cruiser use, even going forward, even on a slightly lighter year, we're probably still gonna be in that ballpark anyway, correct?
As long as the jobs keep coming in.
Yeah.
If I could just add a little bit, over the years, I took over this job in 2016, went to the traffic division, and at that time, our fleet was about half of what it is now because of the size of the department. And our needs kind of changed over the years, and we added to the fleet. And right now, almost every single, I have a whole fleet list here of what we have, and we have 50 insured road vehicles. That includes motorcycles, extra vehicles, traffic trucks, all the ancillary vehicles there. But every day, there are 11 cars that go out for extra duty, on top of like detectives and my car and stuff like that go out, and they're used on a daily basis every day. So, and the reason why we're kind of on a fine line of right on the bubble, we have a replacement program that we do, and even though I built up the fleet, we've kind of kept cars over the years because we don't, fleet plates don't have the registration costs, tax fees, nothing like that. We're running cars like today. Our oldest car that works out on the road still is a 2011. And our average age is 2016 to 2018, so we're trying to always replace it. For example, there was a guy working the Mixville job today, the road job out there, that kind of abandoned people's existence because he can't get around and the detours. But that car has 21,000 hours on the motor right now, and it's 2016. Ford, right in their owner's manual, they do a calculation. And basically 1 hour of idle time is equivalent to 33 miles. So they say on average, a police car idles anywhere from 40 to 60% on a shift. Because they do have to stay around, especially on the jobs, to keep the lights on, but all the electronics, the internet, we name it, everything in the vehicle, the radio, the car stays running, we disable the ignition, and people can't drive away, but it stays running for its purpose. So with that said, that 2016 vehicle with 21,000 hours, say we take 60% of the time it's idling because it's not a road job vehicle, that essentially brings it, if you multiply that by 33 miles, you're looking at about 433,000 miles equivalent on that vehicle right now, which is still on the road. And replacement-wise, if we get 2 cars this year, you're looking at about 2 to 3 more years out before we replace that car, which will probably have about 800,000 equivalent miles right now. So that car also has 134,000 real miles on it too. So, and then frontline vehicles, we have a 2021 Tahoe. I'm sorry, I'm taking up too much time.
No, that's good.
Our 2021 Tahoe, which is like the new model style, has 11,000 hours on it, and it's got 59,000 miles, and that's still going call to call every day. So that equivalent mileage right now is at 244,000. So luckily, we have the Public Works Department, which does our maintenance for us, so we don't have to send it off to Chevy most often, but when we do have issues, Richard Chevy's also great up at the town, they take us right in. So it's nice having the partnership there. And with the, talking about like different vehicles, like every year, the prices change, the prices change. That's why I went from, we used to be exclusive Crown Victorias, that's still my car to this day. I feel like a cop in that thing. And then we went to Ford Explorers because they were on the cheaper side and they were, you know, well-rounded vehicles. And then Ford went way up on prices and the reliability went down too. So then we ended up with Tahoes because they came out and people love them, just absolutely love them. But you have a wide range of sizes of officers, from tiny to tall. Tiny officers don't like the Tahoes. Tall officers don't like the Explorers. The Durangos are kind of like the middle catch-all, in between, and everyone overall seems to like them. So.
Is there a delay in getting the Durangos?
No.
So in other words, if we order those in, you know, September or whatever,
Yep.
when will you have those as part of the fleet?
It could be a matter of a month to 3 months, it depends.
Okay.
They are changing the model year at the end of this year, so we use Jangers Dodge, they're on the state bid list, and same with Jangers Ford too, so we have a good relationship with them too, so.
Would you wait and get the next model year, or?
It depends, because with pricing especially, if we
Yeah.
can get them at a better price for cheaper, we'll try to pull the trigger quicker sooner than later, because there's not much that changes from year to year. So the Durango, they're kind of keeping it that way for the next year or two before they replace it. They're actually replacing the Durangos with Jeep Grand Cherokees,
Okay.
so.
Could I ask you a question? I appreciate that explanation, it's very helpful. Are you both of you politely asking for another vehicle? Is that what's going on?
If you wanna give them to us, we'll take them.
Is that what's going on? Because I'd like to at least understand that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just trying to explain why we always ask for 4, because it's just the right amount of vehicles where we replace and we also backfeed into and get rid of. So with 4, you know, it replaces, usually 2 to 3 go to patrol and then 1 to 2 will go to the administrative side of things too. And it just seems to be the right calculation essentially of, by the time the car dies, we'll have a new one to replace it, ready to go, so.
And we're getting close to full staffing in the department. Is that going to affect the number of vehicles at all, or are you?
No, because you still have to shift minimums,
Some shipments,
and
okay.
the same amount of cars, but I think what we're really saying is, we can absorb the 2 cars this year, because like I said, it's all about shared sacrifice. But we can't be having this discussion next year saying, hey, you can only have 2 cars next year too.
Thank you.
Nice you I bought them, right?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So I think we'll transition, keep the team going with public safety and have Chief Kasner come up. He has one, by comparison, larger request. I'm not sure how many cruisers you could buy for
Yeah.
$1.1 million, but that is the price of a fire truck.
His payroll's less.
There you go. Page 187 is the summary of all of the fire department requests. There are effectively 2 items, I should say. There's the fire equipment and clothing requests, which we do every other year for $200,000. But the bigger ticket item is the $1.1 million to replace the 2001 fire pumper number 1. So Chief Kasner can kind of take it away with an explanation of the process, which I think you're a little familiar with, and the delays, and maybe an update on the 2 that we have in production right now.
I'll start with that. 2 we're gonna get 1 in 27 and 1 in 28. If we order this one this year, it's still before.
And when did we order those 2?
Year and a half. And the wait times are still the same. What I would like to do, well, on an annual basis, we have to have every pump certified. So we had our pump certified and we had a piece of equipment that catastrophically failed the pump. And to fix that vehicle, that's probably worth $20,000. They want to charge us between $35 and $50 to fix it. So I have that parked at the Public Works garage right now until we figure out what we're going to do. I'm going to call a couple of different vendors and see if I can get that price reduced. but it's not likely because the impeller, how a pump works, the impeller spins around and the impeller blew up and it ruined the pump casing that holds that. So you basically have to pull the whole top of the truck off to do it, and it's a job. It's a lot of labor, but we're doing our due diligence to make sure that, you know, there's not another vendor that we can get to do it. So we don't have a reserve, what I call a reserve piece. Every station has 2 engines in it, and if there's a fire, those 2 go. If another one goes down, which is possible, we're gonna compromise fire protection in that section of town. And that's just reality, that's not a threat, that's just how it works. You know, we enjoy having the luxury of a spare, so that if one goes in for service, we just relocate the spare there and coverage is not compromised. So I think that speaks to the importance. The lead time is what is really killing us. And we have kicked this can down the road a little bit, so we're not, I wouldn't say playing catch up, but we need to stay on track. I know it seems like just yesterday we were asking for 2, but that was 2 years ago, or more than 2, I'm not sure when the referendum was, might be 3.
November of 20.
Okay, so if we don't keep up with it, my replacement is gonna have a problem in 20 years, because everything's gonna come due at once, and that doesn't put any of us in this really good position. The firefighting gear is a capital non-recurring cost that we do every 2 years. And to outfit a new person coming through the door, it's about $11,000 before you put an air pack on. So you can see, even with 200,000, you can't do that many. So we try to do 10 sets a year. That brings us to about 100,000. But as gear fails, gear gets contaminated and can't be repaired, sometimes we need to buy more than 10. So this is a number that we're comfortable with. I would ask you to support it, and actually both projects. If I can answer questions or give you any further justifications, by all means, put it here.
What engine is the one that's done?
Engine 1. It's off the station, off the hill on the fireworks station. But we have the reserve piece up there.
If this one gets approved and goes through referendum, what, 2030 maybe to get it?
4 years from when we sign the contract, at least 4 years from when we sign the contract.
Okay.
So in theory, September, we signed the contract, would be September of 28, maybe at best, maybe 29.
So
Some of us will be retired by then.
you're saying that, so roughly this truck will last about 29, 30 years.
You're supposed to get 20, the
20.
MFPA says 20 years and get rid of them. We're learning, because if you looked at my operating budget, the auto equipment repair budget is probably 200, last year was 200% almost of what. So as they age, they break, and they're expensive to fix.
Because, I'm just wondering, it's always seemed like they've always said 20 years for the last
We pushed them out.
many years. Yeah, but I mean, I would think that with new techniques and things like that some of the parts on these things that normally will fail, they figure out better ways to make them that would last longer, but you don't see that happening, it's just,
Actually, it's the opposite.
it really is, okay.
Quality, I'm gonna do a couple of things, just by way of information. I'm gonna look at other vendors. There are other vendors that can do it in 24 months. I'm gonna look at other vendors and see if they can provide us with what we need. We're gonna look at all avenues. We don't just go out and write a check, we do a lot of homework up front.
And we get nothing for the old ones anyway, really, right?
I'm sorry?
We don't get anything for the old one,
No, the last one we sold to Bessie, Oklahoma, I think we got 14,000 for it, and they can't pick it up and put it on for
And the chiefs looked into, more stock options and vehicles. They're not sitting out on lots or anything, but you might be able to cut maybe a year off some of those if you're getting some more stock options that are less custom for what we're looking for. We need to make sure it works for our particular fire service here in Chester too. So, so it's
The major plant that they build, Pierce, that we currently use, is in Appleton, Wisconsin. They have a plant in Bradenton, Florida that they make them, but they're less customizable, and the quality is not the same as what you get out of Appleton. Would one of those last us 20 years out of Bradenton? I'm gonna do that research and find out. There are 2 in Connecticut. Bristol just got one, and I've talked to the chief there. I was supposed to go up there yesterday and look at it. I got busy and couldn't go. But we're gonna do that homework prior to anything happening. So we're looking at all options. There's a vendor in Connecticut that makes them that we're gonna go look at. not the scale or size of any of the big three, but it's, we're gonna look under every rock.
So this is replacing engine one. And engine one is the one that's down right now, so you're looking at like a $50,000 repair to get that to last you
Up and, yeah.
the next couple of years, hopefully.
Yeah, if you wanna, if it's feasible and economically makes sense, if I can find somebody to do it for 15,000, that's a lot better than 40.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm gonna
good
do,
math.
I'm gonna do everything. We enjoy having redundancy and having that reserve piece. I sleep better at night knowing it's there. I don't sleep good knowing that if one of them goes out tonight and gets rear-ended and I have to pull it off the road, that our ISO rating is affected, everything's affected. So we're looking, like I said, we're doing everything we can on our end to try to keep everything on the road. Again, we saved, even with that large budget for repairs last year, we probably saved 50 to 100,000 by using our public works department. They've been incredibly helpful and done a great job for us.
Any other questions?
Yeah, ask Fred more than that, make something up.
It's good we don't have.
We'll have to
Yeah,
go through.
it's probably a good, yeah, it's probably a good thing, Chief.
Just one, well, if I can ask one, so
Yeah.
where, obviously, this one, this particular one that we're replacing is already in a defective situation and needs to be repaired or replaced. But I guess the next question, how is the rest of the fleet looking, or, are there any ones that are prematurely getting, maybe?
No, not really. I mean, it's the same thing with everybody's car. I mean, it's just the chemicals they're putting down on the roads in the wintertime. Corrosion is doing a lot of damage to the cruisers, to the fire trucks, to all of them, and they just don't last as long. As I said to Don, if you look at our oldest truck and you compare the quality of our oldest truck to the newest truck, the quality is better 15 years ago.
Everything.
Right. I was just curious, if, we're looking at this and also seeing, the question is whether any of these other ones are gonna need to be replaced in an expedited manner versus,
My fingers are crossed. I mean,
All right.
it's directly,
Nothing.
and God forbid they get hit on the highway. We're on the highway 2 or 3 times a week.
right,
And if you watch the news, fire trucks are constantly getting wiped out on the highway. I think Greenwich lost 2 last year.
right.
So, Southington had been hit. A lot of people have been hit. Luckily, nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
But barring nothing strange happening, we should be okay.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, John, you wanna come up? And Sheila, are you standing? Whatever you're
I can
comfortable-
slide over.
You can slide over, whatever you're comfortable with.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Sorry if I give you my
She's going for the sympathy.
Yes, that's good. I put it on, I said, maybe they'll feel bad for me.
I saw her running at the pool.
Wrong job or something.
That's why they tell you, don't run at the pool.
Yep.
That's right. So these projects, I'm not sure if anyone has their sheets from last time, but if not, these are CNR projects, the various pool improvements, and I can point you in the book to, starting on page 238. And some of these, the requests might be slightly modified tonight or some discussion. But we'll start with the various pool improvements, filter media, laterals, main pool filter, heat exchangers, deck tables, including ADA, is the long title, for those projects listed on page 238. And I guess we'll start with that, and then we'll get to the roof, the roof project next time. So I guess, I don't know,
You wanna
John,
talk about it? You gonna talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so the laterals to the filter, basically what that is, if anybody knows anything about filters, it's what the water runs through while it's getting clean. The laterals last usually about 15 years, we're at 22 years with these laterals. We're starting to see sand in the pool, which is not a good sign. If they go, we're in big trouble. So they have to really be done sooner rather than later. It's a big bill, but it's gonna be a bigger bill if it goes, because we'll be replacing the whole filter system if it happens. What else is on here? The
Heat exchanger.
heat exchanger, so SK Mechanical is the, no, I'm sorry, it was NEEC, but I had them take a look at the heat exchanger, and that is also 22 years old, chlorinated water running through it, 24/7, 365 days a year. They are rotting out, and eventually that will let go, and we will also end up with a situation that is not great. They're both 22 years old. We got what we were supposed to get out of heat exchangers, usually last about 10 to 12 years. And we've gotten 22 years out of it. The tables and all of that stuff, the tables that we have out on the pool deck are about 18 years old. They're wood, they're rotting, seats are falling apart. We have, Dean is pretty good at repairing them, but we've had 3 that we've completely had to get rid of because they're just not repairable. So what we would like to do is get something that is not wood, that will last a much longer period of time. So that is that for that.
What's the cost on those? Because is that the 50, where are we, 70? Is that the 45 or
Yes.
50,000?
Yes.
45.
45.
For that. So the grand total for those 3 items is the
115.
115,000.
Yep.
Okay.
40, 30, and 45.
Yep.
Questions for Sheila? The crutch worked.
It did. Yeah, they don't wanna ask me, or they want me to get out of here.
Everybody's
One of
gonna
those
show up with crutches now.
Not so
Not
fast.
so fast, there's one more.
The
item.
roof.
There's the roof and
Oh,
the
okay.
pool deck improvements that we've deferred for the last 3 years.
I think the pool deck's not in year 1, right?
That's correct.
No,
It's in
it's
year
correct.
2.
So, yeah, and again, we can talk about any of the 5 years. So far, we've mostly focused on year 1, but certainly can answer any questions on pool decking, which is in, I think, year 2. And then there's one a little confusing, still listed as community pool boiler and roof replacement. That was, remember, a combined project for the boiler itself. Ultimately, the final price of that meant that that piece took up all, and actually more of that appropriation we needed to come back to council for. So really, that title could be amended to just the roof replacement project, which again, the PBC has been looking into,
They've
correct,
worked
John?
on it,
Yeah.
So maybe you can give an update on that.
I don't have the most current one, but I know that they retained the services of Silver Petrocelli back in the spring to design and get some processing.
So right now, there's 120,000 in there. We believe that might be too light, I think was the initial. We don't have a final design yet, but I think the sense was that it was gonna be more than that. So we don't have that right now. That may contemplate moving that out a year so we have a solid number, or just increasing that appropriation, because again, I know it's something we've all talked about trying to get repaired as quickly as possible with the ongoing.
I mean, there's a lot of water coming in. It's going through light fixtures, it's going through everything. I mean,
Yeah.
So we may.
waiting another year is
To
just
increase
not-
that, it's not a great option,
feasible.
so I think if we could increase that to an appropriation that's safe, knowing that if we don't need to spend it all, we don't have to spend it all, and the returns, that's probably would be my preference.
Is it the same type of roof that they will be replacing with, or is there anything?
I think that they were looking at something a little bit different, because what they used up on that part of the roof, they said is really not the best thing for a flat roof up there, so I think they are looking at designing it a little bit differently.
The rolled, what they call a rolled roof or something?
Yeah, it's a rubber roof, it's basically a
Yeah.
PVC membrane that is up there.
Yeah.
And the way that it abuts to the concrete wall is just not a great design.
And is that where they think the water is getting in? Do they
Well,
know?
it comes into, if you walk into the pool lobby, it's all, we have buckets all over the lobby when it's happening, all in the locker rooms and everything else. So it's coming in that area where the flat roof meets the,
Right, and then,
yeah.
Now, this has been going on for a while.
So this has been going on for a while.
That's a little ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm ashamed that we let that go this long, because, you know, that's our pool, and we have spent a lot of money on it, people coming in, whether they're visiting or not, I mean, have buckets all over the place.
I agree.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think the
not-
CBC's direction was not just to, locate on that narrow roof part, but they wanted to go.
They want to do the entire roof,
Right.
I think is what they're looking at.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at in terms of an increase? You said 120 is not gonna be
So I don't
sufficient.
know, yeah, unfortunately, they're meeting right now, and I know Dan is up there with their meeting, Public Building Commission now, and I don't know, John, if you're.
I keep on getting conflicts of those meetings, so
Okay.
I don't know, but
So I haven't seen a number, again, I don't know if you have anything else, but I just, for the same
I
reason
know
that John
the
just said,
number
they're looking
was
for a
like-
larger, more comprehensive
Right.
solution, that's just gonna lead to a larger cost. Remember, we thought the last number was enough to do both projects when we first put it in, and then the boiler came much higher.
Well, we'll have a number before we have to decide on this,
No,
correct?
I mean, it's again, just like, yes, except remember, just like last time, the number's as good as the estimates we're getting from the architects. Those have been
That can
Yeah.
change.
wildly off in recent years. So I hate coming back for reappropriations
Right.
just as much as the next person. We're going off of what their recommended request is, plus some contingency, and some of these have come in, like the boiler, far higher than expected. So it's not for lack of wanting to solve the problem, it's just the frustration
Well,
of
my,
prices coming in.
Oh, no, I was-
my recollection is, when we talked about this, because I was in favor of going out and bidding it, getting a hard price so we would have it and authorize it, and we've held off. But my understanding was that I was told that there was enough time for us to act, this to be bid and this to be built before the winter season. And that was, I thought, the plan. Is that not the plan anymore, Sean?
That's, as far as I know, I don't know, one way or the other, to be honest. don't-
That's what I was told, and I'm gonna be a little disappointed if we're gonna have to put it off another year, because I felt that we should, it was already authorized, it was over budget. And there's no reason for us to be holding off getting this done at this point, we should be moving. I think we should have finished the design, bid it, had a hard price, so when we're sitting here, we know exactly what it is and we can act accordingly, but we didn't do that because I was told that we would be able to get it done this season, so I'm in favor of moving this along as fast as possible, because it's just, as you said, Don, it's,
It's an embarrassment.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Plus, the longer you let that happen, the more damage that's being
Well,
incurred.
I'm gonna share something with all of you that you may not know. I've been working at the Wilson's building, and you remember the issues that we had with the first roof that was there. I have asthma from being in that building with all the mold that was in there. And I have a lot of lung issues from working in there. And that is a big concern to me, being in the building with everything going through there.
so you wanna wait for for Dan to give you an update on numbers and we'll come back to it, but I'm in favor of funding
No, I mean,
whatever this takes to get
absolutely,
it
no,
done.
there's no disagreement on funding, but I'm not, we're not approving it tonight either
Right.
way. So I think we're
Yeah.
waiting on the numbers. I'm just telling you, we don't have a hard number. John doesn't have a hard
Right.
number from any update he's received from Public Works. And so at this point, in the interest of at least putting it on the table and giving you whatever update we have on the other items, that's what we have. I think the plan will be to vote on a higher number, whatever's safe, whatever we get back, hopefully before the end of August when we vote on the final count.
Yeah, it sounds like we're all very much in agreement.
Yeah.
As that project grows, has it been considered making that not a flat roof?
That I do not know. I don't know what they're designing.
'Cause
I
flat
haven't
roofs
been
are
a
like
part.
notoriously.
Yeah, I have not been a part of any of it, so I don't know what their plan is. I know that they were looking at doing something different.
And the 120 that you're talking about, is that what's just left over from what we previously know? Or is that just a number that was, an estimate that was put in? Because you said the boiler was over, but I can't remember, did we,
We took money out of this budget to
Right.
finish the
To fund
boiler.
it.
to finish the
Right.
boiler, right?
So you need to replace that.
Okay, okay, I just wanted
Replace
to-
that plus, this may be more
Plus this be
expensive.
more, right,
expensive.
okay, that's.
And
that's
again,
what
these
I'm
are
finding.
numbers as of February when I
Right.
received them, so we're, part of the problem with the delay in taking the capital budget to this time is obviously things have changed over the last 3 or 4 months. The book doesn't reflect that.
Right.
And obviously there's no additional information on that Department of Rec has. We just simply, it's a PVC project, they need to give us their recommendation.
Should be more.
The original price for the roof that was given, how much over are we looking at the next, what are they asking? Do you
We're
have
not-
Any idea?
We have no idea.
That, we don't have
We
the
have no
hard
idea.
number.
what we're waiting for.
Do you-
Yeah.
No ballpark, whether it's hundreds of thousands or 25,000, no idea.
I
And
don't think it was that kind of change.
I think it was like,
smaller,
yeah.
It was small, not hundreds of thousands, it was smaller.
because the last ask was 150, so I'm afraid.
I don't recall the architect was changing dramatically changing the design. I think it was more details and selection of materials. That was my recollection.
So the price
From
isn't
what-
dramatically changing, it's
I don't think
just,
it's gonna be dramatic, you know, but it's gonna be slightly higher, yes.
and the money is there to move and allocate. We have, the overage, we have it in the budget to put where we need it.
No, we
Because we
requested
spent it over
that.
boiler.
We would
These are
request it as
budget
part of
requests.
capital.
Yeah,
We would request that the 120 number go to 150 or whatever the number is.
prior money appropriated and
Request
then
that
shifted
prior
to pay
to-
the boiler.
Yeah.
So it gets shifted, okay,
Yeah.
Yep.
so it's there.
It was. No,
We're trying to put it back
With-
there.
yeah, with
It's a new
council's
request.
consent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new request, so that number is, what is requested so far, but then ultimately what the town council approves will be whatever number we settle on in August, when we approve all the budget.
And that comes from money that we've set aside for capital projects.
That comes from, that's an authorization to spend, and then it's funded either through financing, like bonding, or
That's what I was getting at.
Yes.
I was
There's no pot of money
Winter, that
for
would be-
capital
No, they
projects.
had to do something with the.
Every year we
transfer
don't
station,
decide a
something
certain
like
amount of money
that,
for
and
requests.
I think that's
No.
all set.
We always
Well,
bond for
we do-
capital projects?
No,
Or
so
CNR.
the only difference would be the CNR projects, which is a CNR fund, a revolving 5-year fund of cash-funded smaller projects. If it's a
And that,
larger.
this project is not included from that budget.
Correct. This would be a bonded project.
Okay.
Yeah, ultimately, that's right. I mean, that's the determination, yes. The answer is effectively yes, but that determination is made by the finance director as they fit in however much last year you appropriated 500,000 for CNR, so however much fits into that. So it's dependent on every other project that if this was the only project that you approved in the capital
Then
budget.
it would be
Then it
CNR.
could be CNR. But it unlikely it probably won't be the only project. And so if there's 500,000 other more appropriate, less useful life projects, those would be funded by CNR funds. The rest would be bonded.
When do we know that breakdown? Or do we know what projects
So
get
that's
bonded?
what this sheet is that we handed out last time. So these are the proposed projects for CNR, and then these are the proposed projects for bond.
Okay.
So it just depends. Right now, it's on the list for CNR because it's a smaller number. If it grows by 50 or 100,000 dollars, it's fine.
Okay, and that's specifically for this year's.
And you know when you're making the final appropriation, because you will approve resolutions for CNR, and they'll say, they'll be the smaller resolutions, and then you'll have these longer ones, we don't have to read them all, but they're like 2 pages long, because they're written by bond counsel. Particular legal language that allow those projects to be funded.
Okay.
Anything else?
You wanna talk about the timing system or no? So, we have, as you all know, we have a timing system at the pool for swimmings.
Yep.
It's built by Daktronics. Daktronics has gotten out of the swimming pool stuff, so we have nothing to replace anything with if anything goes bad. It's 10 years old, touchpads are gonna start getting old, we won't be able to replace them. If we don't have the touchpads and the scoreboard, we will not have the swim meets that we have at the pool, which will be a loss of about $50,000 from our revenue. The Y has come to me and they have proposed them purchasing it and then using it, renting it out to the high school, renting it to anybody who wants to use it. I don't know if they will come through with it, but I have mixed feelings about it, but
I do too.
They also did mention at the meeting the other day with Doug Levens that
they,
have
and then another
the
thing.
Parents Association.
The Parents Association has appropriated the money to do it if we want to do it, but it was to go a third, and a third between the high school, the Y, and us.
How much is it?
It's gonna be about $60,000.
And it lasts for,
They can, I mean, this has lasted
Or
for 10
longer.
years, it could last longer. But my concern is if we lose any of those touchpads, we will not be able to run a meet. Because that's what the kids hit when they hit the wall and their time comes up and,
So has it been floated out there that the Parents Association, why in town?
they came to me, Sean Farrell came to me and said that this is what they would like to do. He came to me with, we want to purchase it, we want it to be here, it will be ours, we will take care of it, and we will rent it out to people that want to use it,
Including
Including us.
including the schools.
Including us, which
Correct.
is not a situation that
Yeah, no, I,
So, when the pool first opened, that is what we did, it was a third, and a third between the high school, the Y, and us.
yeah.
It did not work well. So when we needed to replace it when the first bubble came down because things got damaged, Michael and I talked about it and I said I would really like it to be ours alone because we have control over it. His touchpads were getting broken because everybody was moving everything and they're very sensitive so we bought it ourselves. We were the ones that bought it, the town, so that it was just us that ran it. It's just a strange thing to do, to bring the Y in and have them pay it and then rent it out to people that can pay.
Yeah, no.
On our
So,
pool.
so
In our pool.
if the
Yeah.
Parents Association were in it, that mean it would be a town expense of 40,000, would they still be willing to do it if they put in a third and third?
So it would be 60,000, so it would be 30, 30, and 30 if we did it.
Well,
with
no,
three
if
people.
we didn't have the Y involved, if we just did the town and the Parents Association made it.
Well, the Parents Association is the Y.
is the Y.
Is the Y.
Yep,
It's a Sea Dogs from parents.
yep.
Yeah, our high school teams are pretty small, aren't they now?
Yes, so the boys' team had 5 kids on it this last year, and the girls had 19.
Yeah.
So they'd be out completely if we were gonna own it, the Parents Association, they're not gonna donate.
Correct, correct, correct.
But they rent and use the facilities, so they'll be
They
using it
rent and use the
anyway, yeah, so
facilities,
we're
they
getting
use
the
it for the
money.
needs. I mean, you know, to be perfectly honest with you, I could turn around and say, we don't really need this, but we do, because it brings in a lot of revenue to the pool, having it
Right.
to be, you know, to run the needs that we run.
But we don't wanna be beholden to that,
Correct, correct. And it's been always my understanding that once it is on town property, it belongs to the town. I don't know if that is a true statement, but that is what, like, if they brought it and they put it in there, it would be, I don't know, I don't know.
It could
I
get
don't
fuzzy,
know.
it could get fuzzy, why,
Yes.
why make it fuzzy?
It depends, if they want us to be responsible for it, then it's
You know?
ours. Yeah.
Right. When it breaks, oh, it's yours.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's yours.
But it's just, it
It's
is
on your
something
property.
that will need to be done. I'm not saying it needs to be done tomorrow, but who knows when a touchpad could go. That's.
And there's no place to get a replacement?
As a matter of fact, so they have lane modules that everything hooks into. We lost 2 lane modules, and I called them and I said, do you have them? I don't know, we can see if we have some somewhere in a warehouse, but we are not making any of this stuff anymore.
And there's no compatible ones that?
No, they're not compatible, unfortunately. It would be
And-
nice if they were.
And the 60 is a definite price from some
That is what
vendor?
the Y got as a price. It's 40,000 for the scoreboard, and the rest is touchpads and all that other stuff.
There's some other vendors we could explore,
Right.
that's their preferred vendor.
It's Colorado Timing, which is just really well known with swimming.
Is this project currently on the summary as part of the various pool improvements?
No, it is
So,
not.
no, This
Yeah.
only
This
just
is
came to
a-
me a few
a new
weeks
one.
ago.
Yeah.
And so all of this, it's not even in, and it's not even in the 5-year plan.
Right.
Would this potentially be a bonded project or through CNR?
I mean, if it's wrapped in with the various pool improvements, again, right now, those are, so, again, Jim could attest to this more. There's a balancing act that occurs with useful life, because you keep,
Right.
obviously, try not to bond projects that aren't gonna last 20 years, you're
Right.
bonding for 20 years. So,
Exactly.
you know, but if a project is grouped together and now you need to add 60,000 to that 115,000, or.
But you're still paying 20 years for something that's
Well,
only
you could
less
pay,
than
I mean,
10
again, it could
potentially.
probably fit within
Right.
CNR right now.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's all, the police cruisers we just talked about, you added one of those are in the same CNR pot too. We only approved, we asked for 1.1 million of CNR this year, we only approved 500,000, so it's tight.
Mhm.
So Peter, can we have a little time to think about this?
I was gonna say, can you
Yeah.
research other vendors
Yes.
and bring us a definite number before we,
Sure.
Yeah, but I agree, I think the town should know.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah.
with the original purchase of the scoreboard that's expiring now, when you originally purchased that, did it come with extra touchpads for when?
No, so what you do is you purchase the scoreboard and then you purchase the number of touchpads that you want. So we have 10 because the Y, when they have their meets, they run a 10-lane course. So that's,
So you don't have any extra sitting on a
No.
supply shelf, so when
No.
one goes down, you just replace
Correct,
the
no.
touchpad?
no, they're $2,000 a piece. so it's
Right,
not
but
something-
replacing the whole system because you lose a
Correct.
touchpad is $60,000.
Correct, correct. But they do not.
well, only because the vendor is out now.
Right,
Right.
but in 10 years,
Yeah.
that was bought 10 years ago, 10
Yeah.
years from now, the new one, will that not be replaceable too? So maybe look at.
Yeah, I mean,
buying
I don't see
extra
Colorado
pieces.
Timing going out of business, some other companies.
Computers, you
Right,
buy them, and by the time you've downloaded the new operating system, they're obsolete. I
Right,
get it.
right.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe just looking to purchase a few extra.
Touchpads.
pieces To sit, so that you don't have to replace the entire piece of equipment when.
something, right.
When
Makes sense.
auxiliary pieces.
Right.
Okay.
John, what else?
Did that the turf field, is that the money for design, do we have that, or is that being approved this year?
So, which one are you looking at? No, we already have the design
Oh,
money
yeah,
for
alright.
that. No, the only other new one this year, we had it in year 2, I moved up a smaller number, which is the Yankee Expressway Property Access Study. There was a desire from the council to explore a second access to the future Yankee Highlands mountain bike trail network and open space. So I do have $50,000 request for a property access study, including the approval process associated with the NEMBA, CT NEMBA network that's proposed. I don't know if you want to give a brief update on that, but that is in as a $50,000 request.
For this year?
In this year right now, that is.
Go ahead, John, and I have a question.
Yeah, sure. So Mike Liddon and Francisco Perez and myself, we met probably about 3 weeks ago to finalize all the things that Mike required that need to be in place before we go to inland wetlands. The meeting that happened a week ago, I was on vacation, and the NEMBA, the Connecticut NEMBA representative, was also on vacation, so we pushed it out till the August meeting. So we'll be meeting, I think they have one meeting scheduled in August that will be going to wetlands for approval. And then we'll, after that, then we'll come back and sit with Attorney D'Onofrio and Sean to hammer out a use agreement with Connecticut NEMBA. For the council.
So relative to the other allocation, Sean, I mean, the question I would have is, and I'm fully supportive of doing that work, because we have a large parcel of land that we don't have reasonable access to. Is that something that we really need to go out and get a consultant to spend $50,000 on? We have all the talent in the office, in the town to do that. Why can't we just do that internally?
So again, I guess I'd want to discuss and confirm the priorities and workload with the staff, but I think this was, my understanding of the initial request, and I think Fiona, you had first forwarded this on, was exploring the access, acquiring the rights to the state piece of property where the old exit ramp was, and that might require a certain level of, whether it's engineering or planning expertise that they don't have, but could certainly propose that.
I'm not so sure it's that complicated. I mean, I think, personally, I'd be more favorable to just doing this internally and not bringing a consultant in to spend the amount of money that I think we don't need any unique expertise to solve, but, so I probably won't be comfortable with this, but I would appreciate at least talk to staff and see if they, Mike and Merrick, to see if they.
I mean, the
Well, they
request
have-
is from staff, but.
They have the tools to do it. I mean, they have the expertise to do it. We have all the mapping in our GIS system, and I don't see that the consultant's gonna bring any unique value here, personally.
I guess my question to that would be, how many hours would it take of our staff? Because it's gonna cost the town staffing hours. It might be more cost effective to pay somebody versus, paying our own people to do this extra work. I'm not, there is a cost associated with staff labor as well.
Assuming they can't
Right,
fit it in within their.
yeah.
Didn't you say that it
Yeah.
was the staff's request to have it?
This request came through from staff, yes, but not to say things can't be reprioritized, but it's all.
I'd like to
there's a lot.
understand what the consultant's gonna do for $50,000. It's not rocket science, quite frankly. So I prefer to at least understand what we're gonna spend that money on. I'm in agreement with the objective here, I just don't know. It's a lot of money to do a feasibility study for access on half a dozen parcels that we know which they are, et cetera. I mean, so.
And would there be a cost savings or not? I don't know, but it's a valid point.
Well, if staff does it, I don't think it's gonna cost us any more. I mean, they'll do it, if they can fit it in their timeframe, it won't cost us anything, so.
Valid point.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
that's it.
That's it.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then Board of Ed, then you wanna come up and give any follow-up or updates? Did you say you wanted to present?
We're just here on the energy performance contract tonight, so we have, where's Aaron Olivio, council members remember from Johnson Controls, who was appointed, and then Justin Benoit from Energia, who's our owner's rep. And while Aaron,
Can you do the team?
while Aaron connects here, I'll just, give a quick update. We were with the council on July 8th, and we talked about the initiative here to try and expedite certain portions of planned work under the energy performance contract so that we can take advantage of roughly $5 million of incentives that would be available under the Inflation Reduction Act that will be expiring. So the purpose tonight is to give an update. Work is continuing. By the end of this week, Johnson Controls, O's, Energia, full, finalized scope for Energia to begin doing their reviews. So we're working aggressively with the deadline of August 12th, town council meeting to get approval. So that's the purpose of tonight. As soon as that comes up, I'll turn it over to Aaron to give an update, answer any questions. I know you're on a tight timeline tonight. So Aaron?
Yep, thank you, Vin. So, listen, I'll be as brief as I can. So, from a timeline perspective, you'll see it here, but we're 2 days away from delivering project scope and final pricing and guaranteed savings to your consultant, Energy, on Friday. They've committed to be working over this to turn that into a contract by August 1st. The contract has gone to D'Onofrio, which is basically the terms and conditions. It doesn't have the scope, it doesn't have the guaranteed savings. That's what Energy is going to be reviewing over the next 5 days before it gets populated into the contract, and then that full package goes over to the town and to D'Onofrio and whoever else wants to see it. So I'm here to tell you that we were in the process of making sure that we've finalized the locations of the proposed renewable scopes of work that we want to move forward with, and we're trying to simplify some of those to make sure that structurally they can be had proposed on roofs that can handle them, and then anything else from a site perspective and infrastructure from the utility on interconnection. Interconnection applications are ongoing right now, and so that we're staying ahead of everything to make sure that we can meet the timeline commitments. So don't really need to go through the agenda because I'll just get into it. So I believe you've seen this before. We're looking at fuel cell technology at the high school and at the water pollution control plant. Now, the water pollution control plant, there's an existing benefit because what we're trying to do is get that natural gas line up to the plant free of charge. And so I'll get into a little bit more specifics on that when we get to the plant design. And then we have photovoltaic in the same buildings, but we've also included the Barnum and Norton schools. We've been in receipt of the plans with regards to those, so we want to get in, number one, locally on programmatic issues that are will benefit, and then we're also trying to meet some of the ITC requirements so that we're capitalizing on that 30%. And then we have carport. We had 2 carports up there before, but we've scaled that back to Highland Elementary. And we're not trying to go after like clearing the woods at the high school or some of these other things right now. We're trying to streamline this to make sure that all of this stuff can be fully designed, stamped, engineered, ready to go, and so that we're able to capitalize on as much as possible in that short timeline. So these are basically what you've seen before in terms of cost and savings. I want to just point to going across the top on the fuel cell. If you look over at the simple payback at the WPCA, it's 19.7 years. The scope of work that will go into the document that goes over to Energia includes harvesting the heat byproduct of the fuel cell to preheat the boilers. It also involves the cost associated with changing the plant over for natural gas. And so that's where we're skewing a simple payback, where we talked about these renewables will always be part of a larger energy performance contract because they can lever so much dead weight. So you're seeing the effects there only. While we continue to do the detailed energy audit or certified energy audit and start to bring those HVAC scopes across the building stock for Cheshire, we're doing this, we're pulling this ahead because we want it to be part of the load profile to ensure that the cost-benefit analysis. Additionally in there, and it'll be documented, we put in a reserve of $500,000 as a contribution to the cost-benefit analysis if the gas company came back and said, hey, you're gonna have to spend a little bit of money. We don't think, and that's a controlled contingency by you, so it'll be removed the minute we get confirmation that that's a zero cost to bring that line up. So that number is only going to get better, but we just did not want to represent, something that we weren't going to bring into the contract. And so this is just sort of a little bit of a photovoltaic sizing associated with what you saw across the board there. So 2.5 megawatts. programmatically, will be virtual net metered, so if anything's overproducing a little bit. And then I'll show you some of the layouts here. So you can see the older part of the roof is being reserved, and so we're getting a maximum cost-benefit analysis on the newer roofs without avoiding some cost of taking something down in the future. It also, there has been some cost-benefit analysis with regards to some sizing, and so there's additional cost required by the utilities once we go over 500 kW, and that SCADA cost could add $60,000, $70,000 plus monthly fees associated with Wi-Fi interconnectivity. And so some of them have been scaled down for that, but we're maximized here on Dodd, Highland Elementary, along with the carport there, you can see on the left-hand side of the layout. Doolittle. And then we've got the fuel cell. So 650 kW, high density at the high school, utilizing the virtual net meter program, and then 325 at the water pollution, which we feel, along with the additional scopes that we've included, will get us natural gas at no cost. Again, we got an extra 500 in there right now, and so net metering to support a net zero across the town of Cheshire's building stock.
Do you have the location for the one at Cheshire where it's going to be?
Yeah. So right now, we're utilizing a space in the back of, that got a large dumpster right now, right? Up there? And so there's, just to the right where 6 and 3 are. And so we're pretty far along on, like I said, the interconnection applications have been made. The gas letter is forthcoming from the utility. They're actually gonna pick up most of the gas work associated with this to help the hookup and the cost of the fuel cell itself. And then we've identified all of the infrastructure equipment to make this a streamlined process. If you don't know, every fuel cell in Connecticut does have to go through siting council, and so we're already preparing the applications for the siting council. We don't see any issues. Specifically, siting council for fuel cells was legislated because they were concerned about emissions. We have the best emissions fuel cell product selection here, and so while it's a formality that does have some time, it's just part of the process.
And no concern with the proximity to the residential to the north there? No?
I mean, these are, you have to get really close to these to hear them.
Okay.
And that's really gonna be the big concern with any neighbors. And they're aesthetically pleasing, which we saw. And so this is the work product so far with regards to the site location that had been on site and reviewed, and then the gas line. And again, we do feel like that $500,000 savings that we're proposing there is gonna come back based upon all of the work and the overhaul with regards to the plant equipment and upgrading it. So just
Before you go on, just one thing, will you be able to show us the extension of the gas line, where it's gonna look like for the where it's the treatment plant?
where it's actually gonna come from?
Yeah, what roads it's gonna go down, and I'm just curious as to how
I
long
don't-
it is.
I don't know that information, so I don't wanna.
But we know there's a significant extension that's.
There is, and so, as you can imagine, in those discussions with the utility, they're gonna have additional benefits of the opportunity to hook other people up, which is always goes into that, you know, they're probably not expecting 100, but at some point, you know, over that period. I am told, and I don't wanna do this wrong, originally, we thought it was gonna come from one location, which was gonna be a little bit more costly, but I think they're rerouting where they want this line to come from. And we have to take, you know, their direction on this, but I think actually it crosses more potential future hookups. So there was a line that's, I think they're gonna take it a little longer than where they originally could have taken it.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see where it's coming, if it affects, you know, newly paved roads or anything like that, I just, you know, just like curiosity.
Yeah. Okay. So here's where our, you know, July 23rd, finalized scope and savings. Again, we're gonna take the next 2 days to finalize those and have our internal reviews and then kick it over on Friday to Energia. And then we're still anticipate Energia's commitment to finish all of the crunching of all the data associated with the guaranteed savings and the work product that's gonna happen so that we can get that contract over to D'Onofrio on August 1st. And then we hope to be back for contract approval, application to NRES at the end of August, and notice to proceed for construction sometime in the near future, September roughly, give or take. And this is a compressed timeline. We've been working. I told Vin I can't play any golf, and so we got to get this done. And so we've avoided any distractions, and I'm happy to congratulate publicly my team that's been doing the heavy lifting here. So.
When it goes to Energia, at that point, do you guys have to look and approve it, or what's the process for you, and how long does that take once it's in your hands?
Yeah, so we'll do a review and approval of the scope, some of the structural assessments and things that Aaron mentioned, the energy savings calculations. We'll review everything to do with the audit and make sure that it's aligned with, one, what the project is looking to accomplish, everything's accurate, and that it's driving the maximum value for the town. Typically, that is maybe a few days of a process for us to put together RFIs. We'll kick them over to JCI, and then they'll respond, and we'll kind of move in that fashion. Again, as Aaron mentioned, we committed to expediting this a little bit, so we'll work through it on Friday. We'll get questions over to JCI's team. They'll get responses over to us, and then again, depending on the nature of the questions, should be fairly easy for us to work through this quickly. The scope is a little bit simpler than if we were looking at a full, multi-measure project. So yeah, it'll kind of be an RFI process that we generate through our review of, again, everything to do with the audit that's being proposed.
Because I think, just one second, Trish. Because I think you heard from the council when you guys appeared at the last meeting, that we would, because of the expedited timeline, we would like to have this in our hands as early as possible to give us the maximum kind of length of review. So if you can, once you've completed your work, if you can make sure it goes to the council, even before the contract, we can look at the contract after Jeff goes over it. But the longer this group has with the numbers, I think the better your chances are of getting this, approved on the 12th.
Of course, and we'll, once we're completed with our review as well, we'll share complete transcript ultimately of all of the questions, the responses, how things progress through the review and approval process, so you guys will have all that information as well. We'll share kind of a summary and kind of a letter certifying our review, approval, and recommendation for acceptance. So you'll have all that information as well, along with the final audit.
Tricia.
Can you go back to the screen with the high school fuel cell? I just have a few questions there. And I'm gonna go up and point to what I'm talking about, so I don't use my made-up mom words. Because I don't know what anything's called.
I'll use my dad words.
Good. This road here is kind of small. How long is this fuel cell going, how long does that last? How many years will that be there for?
It's going to be supported by a 20-year maintenance contract.
How difficult is it to move that, say we want to widen this road? It's impossible to move, I'm figuring.
The clearances associated with those, I don't know exactly what those are, but we have stamped drawings that are coming, I believe, on Friday. And so I'll have the actual dimensions. But I think what you're seeing is just a depiction associated with the pad.
Right.
Associated with it. If there's a specific amount of clearance that you want, that unit could be turned the other way.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That was my question.
Very, very
Yeah.
simple.
Okay.
I mean, you have the real estate
Just allow
there.
over the next 20 years growth,
Yeah.
especially for CHS, we have a lot of traffic on 10, so you never know what's gonna happen over the next 20 years, and I'm assuming that back entrance will be part of that plan, but if that pad's there, it's not movable, if you could change it, that gives access to totally grow that.
That could be
path.
going horizontal as it is
Perfect,
perpendicular
okay,
now,
thank you,
very
thank
easily,
you for
yes.
entertaining me, I appreciate it, I look forward to this being really great for the town and a long-term, lucrative
Great.
partnership.
Anybody else?
I got a couple of, so, I appreciate personally that we don't have a lot other than roof mount. It makes it a little easier from, a site perspective, an impact perspective. You do have at Highland, a carport style. The only, and I originally had one that was on the right side of that drive, which was concerning to me just because it just impacted that island, et cetera. But you only have it on the left near where the police station are, and I think that's probably the least intrusive place to put it, so I think it looks good. But just quickly, Sean, maybe you know this, does this require a planning and zoning approval because it's a structure, or is that not required? And if it does, maybe.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Maybe we just make sure that if it does, we get that in the process so it doesn't slow anything down.
It will be, they probably will, yeah. I believe they did for the, you can see our
Yeah,
police
okay.
ones there.
Yeah.
They did for the police ones?
I don't quote me, but I believe they did.
But, and then you had, that was one question. The other one you had mentioned on the 2 new elementary schools, you're including those now as well?
Yep.
What, you didn't have any graphics to those, so what's, at least I didn't see them. Did you have those up? Maybe I missed them.
No, they weren't there.
No.
No, but you're working now and that's, that you can.
I will add to that. The reason we didn't have any graphics is because we didn't have the plans until last week, and so we couldn't get the helioscopes done for the depiction of them. What we got was the analysis that was done in the construct, and so that we just took the square footage of the roof that was buildable on it, and then we put it into the tables just so we could demonstrate it.
Yeah, just
But
to
that
add,
was planned for that, so. I mean-
yeah, just to add to that, so the school, when it was designed, including the mechanicals, that school was equipped, and all the mechanicals electrically are going to be in place to support solar. The only reason we didn't include solar panels in the original cost estimate is because, well, it was too expensive, so they were excluded from the project. If we could do it this way, obviously there's no out-of-pocket cost, and then we're taking advantage of these IRA incentives, before they expire. So it's certainly it's kind of a win-win for us and for the school project.
I think it's wonderful if we can pull it off, but have you spoken to the program manager, construction manager about the semantics of trying to get this embedded into the work that's ongoing in a time frame that works for this?
We've had brief discussions with regards to what the timeline is, not with the program or project manager that's building it. But when we looked at that timeline, there should be an opportunity before the kids enter school. If not, if it's acceptable from the school and the towns, we can work second shift to get the units installed. Packaging them now ensures us that we're in contract and working towards them where we can avoid the FIAC, so the foreign entity tax that's forthcoming. And so that, and programmatically, to Vin's point about trying to fit this in, typically solar's done with cost avoidance, so 12 cents. The program now is going to refund you 18.86 cents for the roof mounted system. So maybe time wasn't on your side, but now the programmatic stuff has a benefit.
I just, you're gonna have contractors that control the sites and things like that.
Yeah.
Whether or not they'll be cooperative or not cooperative, those things, don't wanna assume that they'll work out and they don't work out, and then we've got that in the program and it can't be done because people aren't being flexible. So I'm just asking that.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent point. We'll get there,
Okay.
I'm sure, sooner than later.
And the building committee is aware of this too, so they know that this is in the works?
I mentioned it to Rich Gussenberg, and we have a meeting tomorrow night, so we'll give them, more of an explanation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, so it looked like you did, I think you alluded to this, you scaled back some of the roof, because I know that was a concern in the original proposal, was that there were some proposed solar panels on older roofs, but you've scaled that back significantly.
It was an attempt to go for the world of possibilities and then the reality of what.
where we are right now in
Yep.
terms of the limitations. And that's something you'll continue to assess in your audits.
This is a scalable and expandable project, so as Cheshire grows, we can add solar panels into the system on different sites.
Absolutely, I mean, we can look at anything down the road, but when you say expandable, for just a matter of this project, we accelerated the renewables. That will lever a lot of dead weight, and there'll be more savings when we finish the
I'm
audit.
talking like 5 years down the road.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There's a new facility,
Well,
we can
yes.
add the solar there and
Yeah,
it
it
integrates
wouldn't,
into the
it wouldn't be
system.
part of the performance contract, but we could do something on our own, assuming there were still incentives that would make it worthwhile for us to do so.
But even outside of the financial incentives, just I know, using, saving, routing the electricity from new solar panels, would that be something feasible? Like if we put up our own, can we use the fuel cell? Can we tap into the existing fuel cells in town? If we use your company, that's the type of expansion and add-on that I'm talking about?
Yeah, you can, once these systems are operational, if it's tied into the same meter, you can add on to it, that's a programmatic issue. Your fuel cell power will be behind the meter, but we also could be adding different technologies like battery systems where they're predominantly paying for the charge and then the dispatch, and we're affecting demand. I mean, this, getting a little bit in the weeds, but yes, everything that we're doing doesn't prohibit you from adding on. To the point made earlier, you gotta look at the programs that are out there and how to make it, work for you.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much.
Vinnie, thank you.
Thank you. All right, good night, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Why not? Kill two birds with one stone, right?
Any public comment?
How you doing?
Seeing none. We have 2 items for executive session. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to include, actually just who's not in the room. Andrew, Noel,
Neither of them, Attorney D'Onofrio
okay.
and Attorney Rose and Chief Member Head upstairs. That's fine.
All right, so it's just you and the attorneys and chief.
Perfect, we need to turn that off.
Yep.
Hi, Jim.
So motion,
Oh, yeah, I know, sorry.
motion Dina, second Don.
Okay.
All in favor, unanimous by those present, and we're in.